Welcome to Grace and Gratitude Podcast, where you'll hear journeys of hope, inspiration, and miracles. Its goal is to help people find their way back to joy through the inspiring stories of our guests who have successfully risen above the challenges of life with a grace-filled and grateful heart. This podcast is sure to add more gratitude, joy, love, and meaning in your life. And now your host, Vebs Dichoso.
Hi everyone, in our today's episode, we have a very inspiring guest. She was born without arms, but this didn't stop her reaching her dreams and touching the lives of millions of people around the world. She's the world's first licensed armless pilot, as well as the first armless black belt in the American Taekwondo Association. Let's all welcome Jessica Cox. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, it's a grace to have you. I'm really honored to have you right now and so grateful to have you. Can you share with us something about yourself that most people didn't know yet? And what are you most excited about these days?
Well, right now I'm working on always doing something new to stretch myself. Right now I'm working on something called slacklining, and essentially it's like tightrope walking. That's my next challenge, is to take on slacklining over a high canyon, and essentially called highlining. That's what I'm working on right now. Not many people know about that.
Yeah, wow, that's really interesting. Actually, it's my first time to hear about it, but just from the sound of it, it looks like a little bit frightening and exciting at the same time.
It is. It's a thrill.
Can you share with us a background of or a little bit about your story?
Sure. I was born without arms, and there was no actual medical reason for it. It's still unknown to this day, but I grew up with wonderful parents. I was blessed with a wonderful mother and a father who taught me to be confident in my difference. And my mom was living proof that you can do anything. And she taught me that whenever I doubted what I could accomplish, or if I caved into the doubts around me, because I didn't have both arms. But because I had such a loving, supportive upbringing, I was able to conquer every challenge I was faced with, even as a child. And now as an adult, continue to go out to do more things and prove that there are no limits.
Yes, you're amazing. I've learned about your documentary, The Right Footed, and I've seen you've accomplished and achieved a lot in life, touching millions of people around the world. You've mentioned about your parents. I'd like to know, aside from them, who inspired you the most, or what inspired you the most aside from them?
Well, I also had a wonderful aunt. I called her Nanai because she was like a second mother to me, and she inspired me to do so much and to have a wonderful faith. And that for me helped me during the most difficult moments. I was fortunate to have not only my mother as a strong woman role model, but to have my Nanai, who is my aunt, but like a second mother for me. And she instilled in me an appreciation for faith and for using that to get through the most difficult times.
Wow. Okay. So you're mentioning about this difficult times. I'd like to dig in more a little deeper about this. Like, at what point in your life did you feel your limitations or weaknesses? And what did you do to turn it all around?
Well, I don't remember too much of childhood, but from what I remember and what people tell me is that I was very angry about my difference. And there was even a time I was reading some of my medical records where one of the psychologists said, talk to me, and I apparently had asked my family priest to pray for me to have arms. So I went through a phase where I was very angry with my difference and didn't understand why it was that I was in the condition that I was in, different from everyone else. And fortunately, though, through the support again of my mother and my father and my upbringing and my faith, I was able to grow and learn that this is truly nothing to be upset about, but it's a gift that has been given to me, and rather to have gratitude for the blessing that it is.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that story with us. Most people have this light bulb moment or this aha moment or I call it the miracle moment. What is this miracle moment of yours that you think from being an angry person, you had this different perspective in life?
I don't know if it was one particular moment, but there was one occasion where I was able to finally decide on my own that this is who I am and this is who God created me to be when I finally gave up my prosthetic arms.
Mm-hmm.
And I think society conveys this message that everyone, in order to be able-bodied or to be complete, you have to have all your limbs.
Mm-hmm.
But I was able to come to this understanding at an early age that I don't need my arms to be complete. This is how God intended for me to be. And even if there are the option of prosthetics, I don't want them because this is who I am. And that for me was an aha moment when I made the decision to walk to school for the first time without wearing those prosthetics, those fake arms.
Wow. And how did you feel about it? Walking.
I felt empowered. It
Yeah.
felt like I was finally going to be the person God created me to be. And I was really just happy that I finally got over that. And I could finally celebrate who I am. And I understood that it meant that not everyone was going to be accepting, but still, it was the most important thing for me to do. It was to be confident in my difference.
Well, I'm glad you were able to overcome this challenge, and now you're inspiring a lot of people. Was there a particular point in your life that you really felt challenged or the most difficult time?
I think the most difficult time was probably throughout adolescence. Mm-hmm. And dealing with all of the self-doubt, lack of self-esteem, and all that comes with going through those years of junior high school and in high school when you're still trying to find yourself. And there's a lot of pressure to you around you. And so for me, it was a difficult time to go through that, being different at a time when being different meant being cast aside instead of blending in with all the other children or all the other girls. And so that was a very difficult time for me because I felt like my difference was doing the opposite of what I needed to do.
Wow. You were really able to be who you are, as unique as you are, without prosthetics and just being you.
Yes, it was a confidence issue, and it was just a matter of having the confidence to be comfortable in my own skin and to be comfortable when I was out in public. And that was a journey to get there.
What's this journey about self-confidence? What did you do to be more confident?
One of the things that my mother actually did, she realized the importance of putting me into different activities as a child, because with each new achievement brought about a new level of confidence. And I didn't know until I became an adult how much of an impact that had on me, just being able to do so many different things, but not only do them, but accomplish a certain goal. And with each goal that was accomplished, it boosted my confidence a little more and a little more until as an adult, now I choose to do things because I know the great feeling and confidence that comes with achievement.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
You were able to fly a plane, and then now you're doing the, what do you call it?
Slacklining. Yes.
Slacklining. Okay, so you are a fearless woman. You defy the odds. You make the impossible possible. Now, I'm just curious, if there is still something that scares you, what scares you the most in life? What's your greatest fear?
That's a good question. What is my greatest fear? Well, I think about it and I have to think really hard about that because at one point in time, I felt as though my greatest fear was losing someone who I loved. And going through the process of losing my own mother was such a hard thing, and I'm still dealing with it now because it's been a year. But that was one of my greatest fears, and learning, though, that it was truly a spiritual experience to be able to know that she is somewhere better. And that whole journey of dealing with the loss of a loved one was such a spiritual experience. You know, everyone deals with loss differently, and they all do it in their own time. So that's been more of the emotional challenge for me. And sometimes those emotional obstacles are even more challenging than the physical. And the
Yes.
physical challenge of flying an airplane with my feet or doing any kind of physical task like slacklining. And so I think I deal with that and working through that challenge like anyone would. And it's been a process, but I think that with God's grace, I hope that we as a family can get through it one day at a time and to become better from it.
I'm sure your mom is very proud of you and who you've become as a person. I'm very sure of it. And even right now, you still continue to do what she has taught you, what she has inspired you to do. I know she's in a better place right now. And yeah, she's very, very proud of you. Now, I just want to know if there is one thing in life that you are most grateful about, what it is.
Well, I am so grateful for so many things, and narrowing it down to one thing, that's a challenge in itself. So I have to think hard about that because I can list off and probably go on for days about what I'm grateful for.
Wow.
And that's why I feel I've had a wonderful life, wonderful upbringing and family and support. I think definitely it comes down to probably faith and family is what I'm grateful for, because that ultimately helps us through the most difficult times.
Yeah, I agree on that. Family and our relationship with our family is really important, especially our relationship to our Creator. Yes, this brings out our purpose in life. And I totally agree on that. Now, if you could leave a big message to the person who is struggling with physical and emotional limitations, what's your big message?
For someone who is struggling with emotional or physical limitations, whatever they may be, because everyone has them, sometimes they're visual, sometimes they cannot be seen, and people may not see that you are dealing with something. I just challenge you to get through the challenge one day at a time, using faith to get through the most difficult moments, using family and friends in the community around you to seek out the support you need, and just to never be afraid to admit that you are having a challenge, because we all have them and we're all vulnerable in our own ways, but that's what makes us stronger in the end, is getting through it. So I challenge you to get through that challenge, to stay strong, don't give up, and be fearless. Don't be afraid.
Those are powerful words. And if people would remember Jessica Cox, how would you like to be remembered?
That's a good thing. I'm glad you're asking that question, because I still am figuring that out. I'm still in my 30s and want to know what kind of legacy I would like to leave for others. And obviously, everyone has their own interpretation of my story. Some people see no limits. Some people see joy. Some people see appreciation. A lot of things can be interpreted by the individual when they hear my story of becoming the world's first armless pilot or the different accomplishments. But I think to each person, it's their own individual interpretation. But what I want my legacy to be, I think I'm still working on that. And I think that it's definitely along the lines of not letting your circumstances or your limitations in life set you apart or to limit what you can achieve. And I think something along those lines, and also having just appreciation, as why I love your show, talking about gratitude for the things that we have, because it's easy to see the things that we don't, but if we just recognize that we have a lot more, then we can come from an area of gratitude, and that's crucial for anyone. So I think I'm still developing my legacy and what I want to leave behind.
Okay, now if Jessica Cox would define what gratitude is, you've been mentioning this a lot all throughout our interview. I can see you are a very grateful person and you are passionate about this. If you were about to define gratitude, what it is for you?
I think it's waking up to the reality of there's so much to be happy and joyful about and thankful. I don't want to use the word thankful because that's basically grateful, but essentially having the joy and the happiness of knowing what you have is exactly what you need to lead a happy life.
Wow. What you have is exactly what you need to live this life. So everything that we have right now is exactly what we need to live this life.
A happy life, yes.
Yes, okay. So those are wonderful words and really insightful words from you. And I'm really grateful and honored to have you even for this very brief moment. It's really a blessing for me to be talking to you. We're about to part, but before we say our parting words, is there anything else you would like to share to our audience or listeners right now?
Well, I have been to the Philippines since I was 8 years old, and my story was introduced in 2010, and I've always wanted this opportunity to speak at a public event for anyone and everyone who wants to come and hear my story and hear my message. And finally, I have this opportunity in September 15th at the Cuneta Astrodome. I'll be speaking for the first time to the public at 8 p.m. And I want to invite anyone who is interested to hear my story, hear my message, to meet me in person or see me in person. And I look forward to seeing everyone there.
Yes, it's wonderful. And we're really looking forward to seeing you. So that's on September 15th at Cuneta Astrodome, 8 p.m. Okay, we'll be sure to include that in the show notes. Once again, Jessica, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity, for being with us. It is such a humbling grace, and I really feel blessed talking to you. If people would like to know more about you, your stories, how can they find you and reach you?
You can find me on social media, on Facebook. I am everywhere online. So if you want to email me, you can even go to my website, jessicacox.com. But if you want to just find me on Facebook, I'm there, and you can see some of the things that I've been up to, and would love to see you on Facebook.
All right. So that will be all. Once again, Jessica, thank you so much. It's an honor, and I'm so grateful to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Grace and Gratitude. There's more to explore on our website, www.gratefullandjoyfulsoul.com. Also, please help us share this message with your family and friends and leave us a review on iTunes. We're so grateful to have you on this journey.